back to the pod. Today I have Dirk Vander Noot. He is the founder of Telltale Ops, and he runs thousands of automations every single month, not just agents, for those wondering, to modernize businesses without losing their most important asset, which is the human touch, which is quite interesting. And he is on a mission to help small businesses use technology such as AI and automation to serve people better. You can imagine why we have him on the pod. Dirk, welcome.
Thank you, Arul. Appreciate the introduction, and thank you for allowing me to be here with you.
No, absolutely, man. Thank you for gracing us with your presence and taking the time. But yeah, we're going to be chatting not just all things AI, but really on some frameworks and ideas. Frankly, one of the biggest questions that I see around is what to build with AI, because there's so much possibility, so much opportunity. If you're having it access your local files, if you're having it connect to, or AI connect to multiple apps that you do your work done, you get your workflows done, or if you're as crazy as some people that I've seen, I've not taking that jump of connecting different Mac Minis together and then creating your own virtual employee that just is essentially a loop that runs based on your instructions in AI, which is maybe like a more advanced semi-automation via an agentic workflow. But I think the big question really boils down to, just because you can build it with AI, just because you can build this thing, should you? And you're helping business owners think about this. How do you process that question with them? Because you're actually helping them build solutions that have them literally work less, earn more revenue, and save them time and have them be free, which is really, it's not a promise that everyone is going to do that for you or that AI is going to do that as like a holy grail. But this is the reality we're coming into. So help me unpack that question. What is the can versus the should?
And for me, I come from a business operations, hospitality background, hotels, whatnot. So instead of reviewing and taking a look at this from a technology first angle and asking, oh, what is it capable of? I always ask, well, where can it benefit us in this specific situation the most? I start by asking the question, well, with everything that's on the to-do list, what is taking most of our time and most of our energy? And what tasks are we, by doing them ourselves, really providing the most value versus which tasks are we spending time doing because they're valuable and they need to be done, but us doing them ourselves isn't necessarily adding any additional value to the output of
Hmm.
that task.
That's interesting. So it's almost, because when I work with clients, we talk about value based pricing. We don't always have to do value based pricing, just in case, just so that if you're wondering, but if you're a listener wondering, but I do like to focus on value creation, how you perceive value, how you create value. And it sounds like you're taking similarities from that equation or similarities of that concept, because value is a created concept. It's not actually an objective measure. And it can be if you're an economist or a finance person, but essentially value is perception. But when you look at that, you're also measuring what is the value of the thing that we're doing and how does the energy inputs from our humans or our team members not adding or creating more value? How do you measure that? How do you actually distinguish that? Like, how, because that's more than just a strategy session.
Yes, it is very difficult to measure. The best way that I've found to do so, though, is actually taking a look at our teams and our customers' feedback.
Hmm.
What are they saying that when they experience working with us that they're getting value from?
Oh,
Are they
okay. Their real
mentioning
perception.
their real perception? Are they, after working with us, are they mentioning a specific team member or coworker that really made that experience add value to that experience? Or are they saying maybe something specific that that coworker did out of everything that the team had to do that really benefited them? That is really how we can get a lens on where is our customer perceiving value. Now, I also
Hmm.
said the teams in the beginning too, right? Because a lot of the ways that we can use automations and AI will be internal, and the
Yeah.
customer might not directly see the impact on that necessarily, but it will impact our team and the work that they do. So I always love to start with, well, where is our team finding purpose in the work that they do versus what is the work that they do that just needs to get done?
Hmm. So there's a few things to unpack there. One, you're still crafting the client experience and focusing on the end outcome that they care about. They may not actually see the things that are happening in the background, but the team and how we're formulating, how we're executing. This goes back again to a profit equation that I work on, is how you deliver the service can be augmented and the team could actually be happier because they're not doing some of the things that thankfully technology is able to do now. How does this actually affect work and like human purpose? Like when you're looking at this, like are your clients happier because they're not doing some of the things that they don't like to do, or are they finding like, oh, I 40% of the roles or the things that I was doing is now automated or leveraged with AI? And we'll get to the distinction in a second between agents and automations. But how are your teams reflecting on that, or is it mostly like positive because you're helping the bottom line plus the client experience?
Because we're extremely intentional in how we're building in automations and AI into their workflows, and we're constantly bringing them into the process before we relaunch those workflows with the new tools, they already are excited about it even
They're
before
bought in.
the impact has been seen. They're already bought in because they've had a say in it. They know that it's going to positively impact them. So once it's running and now they're seeing the impact of not having to do more of the draining work, they become a lot more satisfied with their jobs. Now, what I have found over and over again, and I know there's studies for this as well, is that when employee satisfaction increases, how they serve our customers becomes even better,
Greater
and our
experience.
customer
Yeah.
satisfaction tends to increase right along with it.
That's cool. So you're looking at CSAT, customer satisfaction, as a leading indicator of the performance of the automation, which is another. Well, actually, that's a lagging indicator, and the leading indicator is team satisfaction. Team satisfaction impacts CSAT, and then from there, okay, that's pretty interesting. What's your view on that as well? Like just personally, you're looking at this, you're building this out for teams, you're seeing the whole what can we build, what should we build, what is your perception about value creation through AI and automations, and value creation through a team and humans effort, and then the like work as a human, a mirror of who we are and what we do? Are you seeing that distinction well enough? Where like, hey, like some of my work is augmented. Obviously, there's higher satisfaction, but what? How is your view? Because you have a unique perspective coming from hospitality, which I think your people first, human centered approach to AI is very. That's why I wanted you on the podcast. It's fruitful. It's different, not just like automate for automation's sake and then fire the humans, which is a real reality, or essentially retrain the humans, or let's do more with less people. Again, that's, we can argue about that today's end, but like under the hood, some of that is going on right now. What's your perception on like value creation, work as an expression of who we are, and like our identity with work?
I experience throughout all the different opportunities all the different jobs, all the different companies that I've worked with across different industries, whether it's products or services or it's SaaS or it's home improvement, is that when AI is used to do what it is good at and it allows the humans to do what they're good at, then that's where we see the metrics really start improving, whether that's customer success or team success or revenue growth, especially revenue growth too. And with using AI in the right places and identifying where that should be, I think there is a right place to use it.
Mm.
There's a right place for the human to be. I've identified this by taking a look at what are the tasks AI is really good at and what are the tasks humans tend to be better at. In general, you can say, well, if we need to build a relationship with our customers, having that human to human contact is going to be essential. I've had a lot of people come to me, oh, could I automate AI sending out my email campaign to my current customers so that, I can keep them warm for new
Mm.
business? The answer is yes, you can automate that. We can set up a campaign where on a weekly basis, an AI reviews your CRM, finds all your customer data, drafts emails to them that are really personalized, and then sends off those emails all without you having to touch it. And your customers will find that it's missing something.
Slop is born.
Slop is born. That's really good. And we see that more and more every single day, right?
Do you think slop is
And a
just
question we have to
laziness
ask,
then? I think it's just laziness then at that point.
I think slop, it can be laziness. I think it's also an attempt to do more with very limited resources. I don't know about you, Raul. I feel constantly like I'm expected to do more and more every day.
What do you mean by that?
When it comes to output, how many meetings am I having? How many relationships how many sales am I having? How much work am I able to accomplish in a day,
Do you think that's
right?
because you're a male and you attribute your identity to work?
Hmm. You know, I get a lot of man, that's a really good question, Raul. But for me, work is very important from a faith-centered aspect of connection to my purpose.
Mm,
And I'm very grateful to have had a lot of control over the work that I do so that I can make sure that it aligns with why I believe I am here, why I
mm.
believe God created me, and how I believe I'll get to heaven one day. But it is only one aspect of my life.
No, and that makes a lot of sense. But I think you are right. I think one of my the cool thing about being in the business so long is that clients become friends, friends become clients. But one of my good early client friend, he's now a good friend. He goes to Costa Rica. I don't know how many months out of the year, and he is again American military dude. And then he's like, wow, like the West is always about focusing on more growth, 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 do and not like or chill or peace. And it's a very mature standpoint. And I think what you're experiencing is that. I think there's also the healthy aspect of it is that we should always be productive. We should always be doing. We should always be building and creating. Because the opposite of that is also true. If not, you're stagnation or dying. But I think the unfortunate reality of peer pressure of growth or always doing is a reality. And now with AI too, I also feel that pressure too. Is like there's some things that the way that this thing evolves or the way that we I can't say it's evolving like biological sense, but just the way that new progress is made, new things come out. Most likely it's every day something new is happening. Big changes have been happening seasonally, but it's almost week after week. And like even just like a latest launch a couple weeks ago, I feel behind the eight ball. It's like why haven't I done that yet? Why haven't I executed or because I feel like I need to be on the cutting edge. And in some cases I do, in some cases I don't for security purposes or reasons. But I do feel that push, not only because one, you're a business owner and we're in the West, and there's also some principles of growth, but secondly, because this is happening so fast, I think you are almost expected to be on top of it, which is, I'm just reflecting out loud here. I'm not saying this is the answer.
Oh, that's actually very validating to hear as well. I agree that a lot of these symptoms definitely come from our environment as entrepreneurs, as we grow our circles of other entrepreneurs, and you're constantly seeing everybody else working so hard and pushing. And I think it's also, you see it on social media, even if you're not an entrepreneur, it's that keeping up with the Joneses in its
Oh
own
yeah, with
way and
the neighbor.
in the work way.
Yeah, and I'm not
Right?
saying this is the right answer, but it's a perception. Again, there's two dichotomies or two different things to look at. Like bipolars is one would be like, oh, if you're still doing all the work and you're not leading, then you're actually a poor leader and you haven't learned how to do that. You learn how to carry more, which could be somewhat true. I'm not saying it's not true in all cases, but that's a perception. That's a judgment call. And then the other side, and like some like great amazing entrepreneurs that I know who are not only successful but successful in multiple areas of life, not just in earning money, which is something that we don't really see all the time. It's like, oh, you're successful at earning money, but you fail at your health or you fail at these other areas of your life that doesn't really justify all the time. And not saying money's bad. I'm just saying like sometimes we're lopsided. But he was saying like,
Money's a
yeah,
tool. Yeah.
yeah. But he was talking about another friend was a again client friend business owner. Oh, like people would ask him, "Are you more profit? Are you running? Do you have more revenue this year?" And he's like, "No, I actually have less revenue, but I'm more profitable. Oh, and I get to see my kids 4 more hours in the day." Like, how do you measure that? How do you measure that productivity? How do you attribute like to your point, keeping up with the Joneses? We definitely deviated, but that's the gift of this pod is to dive into these bigger questions and hopefully help listeners reflect on their own selves. Like, who are you listening to? What are some of the beliefs you have? How do you keep up with this? But to dive back into human in the loops, the importance of human centered design when it comes to AI workflows, help us understand the difference between agentic workflows and automations that incorporate AI. And I think you're really heavily leaning on automations, which is incredible. Like that's automations have been here. Tell us more.
Absolutely. And I want to really quick go back to one of the things that really drives me as well is to automate a lot of the work, use these tools, use these automations and AI, because the more of my work that can get done without me or with a more limited presence of me, the more time I get to spend with my family, with my friends, you know, in these other aspects of my life that I do care deeply about and want to balance with my work as well.
That hits a second question that I want to ask. Well, let's hit the your because that's so brilliant, but it's such a big question that I asked you at first when we could answer that one first on the automation versus agentic workflows.
Age- I'll jump right back into your question. So, yes, what I've found tooling around for the last, a little over a year now with both what automations can do and provide and what AI agents can do, I do heavily still rely on automations rather than agents. Why? Because, again, coming back from an operations standpoint, I see workflows as step 1, step 2, step 3. And all my workflows always start like that. Very simple map, whether you're using a lucid chart or just a whiteboard and just drawing out. This happens, then this, then this. And automations are fantastic at that. You know exactly what you're inputting, you know exactly what the output's going to be, and it's extremely reliable for just completing those workflows. Now, where AI agents come in is when we need to do a little bit more research or we need a little bit more creativity. The output is going to change a little bit, and the inputs need to be found, right? There's not a direct input necessarily
Yeah,
of
it
a
calls the
piece of data.
tools to take action. And in the other place, you institute the tools.
Yes.
In this case, you say, here's who you are, here's what you're doing, here are the tools you get access to, here's the thing I need you to do, go get it done. And it'll do whatever it needs to get
Yes.
it done. And that's sometimes that's good. And then some other times it's like, there's prompt injections. There's, oh, how did my social security get uploaded to someone else's class?
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I'm not saying that's happened to me, but it's just a hypothetical that is a real cybersecurity risk. But no, that's I think this is alluding back to the one of the questions that you just inspired of like, okay, AI is doing some of the things you don't like to do, or some of the things that have to get done, and it's just crazy that work is optional. Do you see that?
I'm seeing it more. Absolutely. I think that's a good thing for work that's not fulfilling and that we're not necessarily adding more value to by doing it ourselves as humans.
Yes.
I think there's definitely, it's very important for each of us. It's been very important for myself to identify what is the work that I enjoy and which outputs from me having done it to improving somebody else's life.
Yeah, but do you ever see the future where even that can be replaced? Or what are some of the things that you're
And
seeing currently right now that cannot be replaced, that are essentially you? And I'm saying essentially, like as in true essence, a true essence thing that you can't foresee. And obviously, the exponential growth is a factor here, but that you can't foresee being completely replaced. What is that? What is the essence of the talent or the unique skill set or the unique aspect that you bring to the table?
I'm actually thinking of an example back when I originally started working in hotels. It was an exciting times about 2017 or so, and I was working at the front desk, and the kiosks, the self-check-in kiosks were
Oh
just
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
introduced as well as the apps where you could just check in on your phone. And we were all like, "Oh man, our jobs are in danger. Why would people ever stand in queue to come up to the desk when they can just do it themselves and just run up to their room and they don't have to deal with us?" But the reality was that only a very small percentage, single digits,
Wanted to do
ever
that.
really fully used those options. People still wanted to get in queue to work with us as humans to get them checked into the hotel and get them up to their room. I don't think it's an essence of
That's
the
also luxury
simple.
too, by the way, because in hotels, luxury has to be
Mhm.
human, or the experience has to be human.
Yes, there's a in hospitality in general, restaurants, hotels, private clubs, I believe that the relationships we make with others is why we choose to go to the hotels or the private clubs or whatnot again and again. There's a great quote that I learned from one of my professors who actually ran the Gibson's restaurants, the steakhouses and whatnot. And he said, people will come for the food, but they're going to come back for the service. And I
Yes.
believe there are elements of that service that we need to provide as humans, even if AI can do it. Doesn't mean AI should.
It's such a key thing. This is why I love having these conversations, because a lot of the futurists or a lot of the things that are happening in terms of leading voices in AI are essentially saying some of the opposite things that we're saying, and they're not really recognizing relationship as, I wouldn't say as an asset, because that's to degrade it, but relationship as a fruit of life, relationship as a vitality of human flourishing. But no, this is always fascinating. Dirk, what's exciting you these days when it comes to like what you're testing out, or some of the interesting questions that have popped up when you're working with clients? It's just around like this conversation purpose, slop, AI, judgment, or agents making the wrong decisions, like human touch. What do you think?
What excites me most, Raul, is when I worked with a client and identified, these are the things that they don't like doing, and we've automated them out or used AI a little bit here and there within those automations to get those tasks off their plate. When they tell me, Dirk, not only has my business grown, but I didn't have to lose my life to grow it. That I'm
You
working just as much or even less than I used to, but I'm bringing in more money, and now I'm spending that extra time with my family, with loved ones. Where in the past I was stuck behind paperwork, I'm now living a more fulfilling life in other ways. That brings me so much joy to hear.
and abundance is born. I think that's a great place to close the loop here, and that's so true. Like, how do we create abundance through this and not look at just the negative side? And that's a beautiful like just dot right there. Derek, where can our listeners go to, one, thank you for being on, and also learn a little bit more about you?
Thank you, Raul. You can find me on LinkedIn. So Dirk A. Vandernoot on LinkedIn. I'm posting all the time about what I'm seeing is really helpful to work when it comes to AI and automations out there. I know there's a ton of news out there about what AI is and isn't and where it's going, but I really try to focus on what we need to know and where we can get value from these tools today.
I'll put those links and your website on the show notes. Dirk, thank you again, man.
Well, thank you, Raul. I really appreciate having been invited on.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you'd like to get more of these podcasts, please go ahead and subscribe to wherever you're watching or listening to the pod. If you have any suggestions or questions that you want me to answer on the pod, or you have a guest that you want me to interview, please go ahead and email me all of your suggestions and questions at podcast@dogoodwork.io. That's podcast@dogoodwork.io. If you'd like to give me public feedback, you can go on Apple Podcasts, and from there you can leave up to a 5-star review. I would greatly appreciate that. If you like more free resources where you can get my best strategies to help you increase your company's performance and scale profitably, you can get handpicked articles to propel your growth, and you can get trainings and discussions that I give freely online, as well as low-cost resources such as my books and guides. You can get all of that by going to dogoodwork.io/resources. 90% of all of these resources are not behind any email opt-ins. You can get instant access by going to dogoodwork.io/resources. Now, if you'd like to accelerate your progress and shorten the gap between information and action and start seeing results in your business, let's work together to increase your company's performance and scale profitably and serve more clients without the overwhelm. You can request a free clarity call to see how we can best support you to reach your goals by going to dogoodwork.io/apply. Again, that's dogoodwork.io/apply. As always, it's an honor to be a small part in your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.